This is Keys to the Shop, episode number 1, and this is our very first show. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Keys to the Shop in this first episode of a new podcast in a new year. Welcome. So glad you're here. And this is a podcast that is dedicated to giving you insights, inspiration, and the tools you need to help you develop and grow as a coffee service professional. That means no matter who you are serving coffee for a living, if you're a new barista, a seasoned veteran, a manager, an owner, whoever, maybe you just love coffee shops and you want to know more about the way they work, then this show is going to have something for you. My name is Chris DeFirio, and I'm your host. And today is basically just an introduction about who am I, what is this show about, what can you expect from this show in subsequent episodes. So let's just get started. It's going to be a short episode today. My name is Chris DeFirio, and I am a native of Syracuse, New York, in upstate New York. I'm now living in Louisville, Kentucky with my wife and my very, very active 3-year-old son, where I work as a cafe operations manager for Sunnergoss Coffee, which is a retailer roaster that's been around here in Louisville for 14 years. And I've been in this position as an operations manager for almost 3 years now. And basically what I do is a manager, but that means I work in systems. I work to support the managers of the stores and manage them as well. So I'm over retail in an administrative role, and it's been quite a learning opportunity, and it's been fantastic. I've been working in professional coffee service and cafe work for 17 years now, so a little bit of time. And I've gone from being fired from my first coffee job, which, full disclosure, after 17 years of hindsight, I probably would have fired me too. And that's another story in itself. We'll get into that somewhere in the podcast maybe. But I used it as a learning opportunity, and I'm learning today still as an operations manager. So from day one, 17 years later till today, I've been a lot of things. I've been a barista, a trainer, a manager. I've done speaking. I've been a competitor. I've been in Coffee Fest latte art competitions, has been a successful thing for me. I've won that 3 times. Also was able to do well enough to place 4th in the United States Barista Championships in 2007. Basically, I've done a lot of cool jobs. I've done a lot of cool things in coffee and gotten to travel a bit as well. And the one thing I keep coming back to, though, and the thing that really grounds me as a professional and makes me, get out of bed in the morning is the coffee shop, is the retail experience of working in the place where it all comes together. So I love the shop, and that's basically why this show exists, is to serve the people who are, maybe I'll just quote Barista Magazine's saying that their mantra, serving people, serving coffee. This is definitely what the show is geared towards, is helping you develop as a professional, because honestly, the better we do, the better the industry does. And I know that's true for everybody, but I particularly believe that about the shop, because so much is on our shoulders as professionals. The name of the shop, or not the name of the shop, but the name of the show is Keys to the Shop. And obviously, I'm referring to like keys that you get to a shop. And the reason is because for me, when I get a set of keys, or when I give a set of keys to somebody, it's like there's a transferring of great trust and responsibility. It's almost palpable. You can feel the weight of the responsibility, and it drives you to just want to do your best. And you get to the front door for your first opening shift, and you take out the keys, and you're trying to remember the alarm code so that the cops don't come. And there's a lot of pressure there. And then you have this realization that the entire day's worth of interactions and experiences that people are going to have where they form opinions that might last a lifetime about the coffee industry, about an origin of coffee, and maybe an entire country of coffee, rests in this moment of getting the cafe started. So yeah, we want to do great. We want to do our best. And how we're able to do our best is by advancing ourselves personally and professionally. And that's where Keys to the Shop comes in, is we want to be able to help you by providing key insights, but inspiration and insights about key topics and things that we need to know as professionals that may be hard to find and sift through if you just did a search for the phrase or the word. I want to draw upon my experience from 17 years of being in the coffee industry and help answer questions that you have about working in the coffee bar environment, in the retail coffee environment. And we're going to bring on guests as well who are experts in their fields, both in the coffee field, where, great managers or owners, entrepreneurs, people who can speak into the life of one who works in the shops and help us advance ourselves. That's who we want, on the show presenting this information. But also people outside the coffee industry is who we want to have on the show too, because they also have a great perspective that's often unencumbered by the trappings of our industry, so they can speak more freely to a particular thing. Maybe we need to learn something about human resources from somebody who is the head of HR for a corporation, instead of somebody who hires for a coffee bar. There are things we could learn from both of them, but you get what I mean. Classic example would be somebody like Danny Meyer in his book, Setting the Table, which, thumbs up to Danny Meyer. Go ahead and read that book, Setting the Table. But he's not in the coffee industry. I mean, he has coffee in his restaurants. He has great coffee in his restaurants. His book is just part of the package of being a barista these days. It's being passed around so much, and we read it as a management team, but he's not in the coffee industry. But his perspective on hospitality and service and all of that is very, very useful. So we want to bring in guests who will just give us great impact and wisdom, and we can learn a lot from them. I'll give you an example. One of the experts that we brought in is named Ryan Soder, and a lot of you know who Ryan is. I get to work with him here at Centergoss Coffee, and we talked about workflow the other day, and he's on episode number 2, and you can listen to that episode right now. It is an hour long, and it's a really great deep dive into the subject of workflow and creating a better environment for work. I want to play a clip of that just to give you an idea of how the interviews go. Just a quick clip here.
So, the idea of workflow and the idea of ordering the things that you do isn't about one way or the other. It's about having a way, and that you have a way to measure if it's better or worse, and you stick to it.
Okay.
So I don't care if you're using scales or not. I care that you know how you did it last time, whether you liked it or didn't like it, and know how to change it so that you do better next time. And then once you find a way that works, you stick to it. I think that's the important part.
Okay, so there you go. Ryan gave a lot more information about workflow in that episode, but the whole goal of each episode is to explore those topics in depth and make sure that we walk away with the core principles of it that are immediately useful to us in the cafes. So not only are we going to be bringing in people that are experts in their field, but we're also going to do solo episodes, or basically you and I are going to talk about topics that you want to know about. And on top of that, we're going to be working on answering all of your questions, as many as I can, because there's only one of me. And so maybe your question will make it on the show as a topic, but yeah, the goal of the show is to be beneficial to you. So your input is desperately needed so that we can, create more and more value for your time. For this show, I feel like I want us to explore things in a focused and in-depth way. And I want to walk away feeling like, man, I really learned something. And I know you do too. And hopefully we can just do that better and better with each episode. You can reach out to me at chris@keystotheshop.com. That's the email to reach out to me, chris@keystotheshop.com. And we've got some great things coming up in the subsequent episodes of the show. So you can also check out the website at keystotheshop.com. And there's a few things there. All the previous episodes live there, as well as the show notes for each episode. And each episode's show notes is a downloadable PDF, which is a summation of all of the things that were said in the podcast. Keys to the Shop also is on Twitter and Instagram. So on Instagram and Twitter, you can just search for Keys to the Shop, at Keys to the Shop, all one word, and you'll find us there with our little yellow key tag. And also subscribe to the show on iTunes and share it with a friend. And we want to get the podcast and the information featured in the podcast in front of as many people as possible so the information can travel as far as possible. And thanks for listening. And I'm really excited for this new year, this new podcast. And I really hope you have a great day. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks a lot.